Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going? Hang on. What is going on, everybody? A little difficult with my mic, but we're here. So, what is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another live. Of course, you know where you're at. You are at Spartan Execute Network. I am your host, Ghost of Sparta. My guys are running a little late, but that's okay. We'll just call them later. So, the topic tonight is Kylo Ren versus Darth Vader. Grandson versus grandfather. Who is more powerful? Who is the best Jedi? Who is the one who's going to win? That is the question of the night. And this has been going on a debate for a hot minute because it's something new. He's a new character introduced into the Star Wars lore. And it makes me think, is the old man stronger or is the new school stronger? Unfortunately, with copyright strikes, I'm not going to be able to play any videos to get deep into that. But what I can do is have a decent conversation. Mariana, what is going on? So, let's break it down a little bit till the guy gets in here. Excuse me, the guys to get in here. So, we have Darth Vader, a.k.a. Anakin Skywalker. His backstory is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Messed up. First, he was a slave. Then, the person who's supposed to train him ended up getting murdered. Then, as he gets older, he sees his loves in life again. One of the rules are against any Jedi orders rules. You cannot love or get married or have kids. This is against their rule of conduct, whatever it is called. So that's one. The backstory to that also is he ends up finding his mother half dead. So he kicks some ass and takes some names, pretty much. Fast forward a little later in episode 3, he turns into Darth Vader, tricked by what's his name? Darth Maul? No, the Emperor. Okay. Then his own instructor, his own master, pretty much leaves him half dead. Interesting. Then we go to episode 4. They know his kids are still alive. Then you see he fights him. And guess what? As they said, Anakin was the best starfighter out there. Looked like Luke got one up against him. Then it gets even more interesting. He actually duels off his own son, cuts his arm off just like his, and tells him he is the father. Exact words, Luke, I am your father. I wish I can do a little better than that, but you get the idea. Then further down, Anakin, aka Darth Vader, and Luke go at each other one on one. And Luke was able to turn him back to the light side. But with Kylo Ren, we don't have such a backstory. Wondering why he turned to the dark side. The only thing we saw is Luke almost slain, almost going after Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo. That is interesting. Very, very interesting. So, if I had a guess, if I never watched the show, the movies, the comic books, the novels, who is better? Right now, as the moment speaks, I will say it will be Darth Vader. What's up, Eric? Eric says, I think Maul would be more formidable adversary of Vader as a Sith Supreme goes, but I will hush now. Okay, Eric, let me ask you this question. If you had to go, forget Maul for a minute, Vader versus Kylo Ren, who would you pick? You don't have to be a fan of the movies. I know it's a debate which movies were better, the original or the prequel or even the new ones. That's fine. But my question to everybody out right now tonight, right this minute, who do you think is better? Kylo Ren or Darth Vader? So I think Darth Vader might have a little bit of a disadvantage for one reason. His suit. His suit was built in a certain way. Okay, Eric, you say Vader. I'm going to challenge that a little bit. Excuse me. I'll explain why. As I was saying, Vader's suit was built in a certain way. He was always in pain. One. Two, he couldn't be as fast as Zilla like Kylo Ren was because he had nothing to hold him back. No suit, no armor, nothing. My damn mustache is getting in my nose today. So Vader might be slower. That's where speed will come into advantage. And that is something that might give him the upper hand. If that makes sense. That is could be night and day kind of thing. It makes you think. Hey, Wally, what's going on? Everybody's running late tonight. If you want to join us, you know what? I'm going to drop the link in the chat really fast because I didn't do that yet. And here we go. Whoever wants to join up, please join us. Would love to have you guys. Remember, keep it clean, keep it nice, keep it friendly. Cameras on, mics on. That is the rules. Not bending the rules for anybody. Um, so I think Kylo has the speed advantage. So that's where I keep him. Oh, speak of the devil, the host of the show.
Oh yeah.
Right. He was supposed to host, so I'm gonna back off a minute.
Oh wait.
Look,
Oh
wait,
wait.
wait, wait. Oh,
What?
hang
Oh
on,
wait.
hang on,
I
hang
just
on,
jumped
hang
in. I just jumped in.
on. Hang on.
Hello there.
Oh there.
There you go. It doesn't matter. You jumped in. We had an agreement. You said you're the more educated Star Wars person on the network. Agree
Sure,
or
I
disagree?
guess. Yeah.
All right. So what did it? Go ahead, take over, Mister Elf,
All right.
Master Elf.
Nothing like jumping straight in. So
Hey, I ripped the band-aid off, buddy.
yeah, rip the band-aid off real hard. Ow. Uh, so yeah. Kylo Ren versus Darth Vader, the big old who would win? Who's the better villain? Who I mean, realistically, like where do we start? Where do we begin? Um, Personally, I'd say if we're talking about Vader, we begin right about the point of execution of Order 66 when he defends Palpatine. Now, yeah, we all know the story. He ends up fighting Obi-Wan and gets all his legs and arms chopped off, and then he ends up in that badass suit that he wears all through the original trilogy. The Now the big problem is, and it's a loaded statement, is um, could he beat Kylo Ren? I'll save everybody the problem. Yeah, he will. Because first of all, I mean, Kylo Ren, yes, he was trained by Luke, but I don't think he finished his training. Um, and the other problem is Vader is a Sith Lord. Kylo Ren is a fanboy. He's not a Sith Lord. So, but where do we take it from here? Um, who else is here? Is it just me and you?
Yeah, Paul will join us. He's running a little late. He just hit me up a minute ago. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Can
All
you
right.
hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now. Hold on. All right.
Okay.
Then I had something that I was looking at on my phone earlier, but while we wait, I can
Hey,
let
Wally,
me
what's
see if
going
I can
on?
get this pulled.
What's going on?
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I'm gonna just do a
All right.
little bit. I'm just gonna come here for a little bit. I am.
So,
Oh, go ahead, sir.
thank you, Wally. So, I'm going to give an advantage to Kylo Ren for one big reason. Vader's
Uh-huh.
suit was clunky and slow. One, two, his suit was giving him. He was always in pain. That's why he
Right.
had to go into the covering chamber. What is it called? Help me out, Rob. He had
He
to
had to
recover.
go into a Bacta tank. Or excuse
Thank
me,
you. Every
Bacta.
couple.
Bacta. Excuse me. Excuse my pronunciation. So Vader had to pretty much when he wasn't in the suit, he lived in Bacta, and it was because he had all the decrepit
Skin
skin. You know,
melts in
the
lava.
third degree, yeah, exactly. Lava and skin don't mix well, you know. But he had like the third, fourth degree burns. He was burned pretty much in his entire body, and
Yeah.
um, so he had all that problems with all that. So the Bacta, excuse me, is kind of like the magic juice that people in the Star Wars universe use to heal. Like when Luke in Empire Strikes Back, after he had the run in with the Wampa, when we see him in that tank, that's what Luke's hanging out in to recover from his fight with the Wampa. So, but as much as Vader was clunky in his suit before he became a Sith Lord, he was already had a mastery of the Force. I mean, he'd been granted. He started training like what? How old was he in the
He was
Phantom
young,
Menace?
like a
What,
young kid,
8, 10 years old?
give or take. Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
young kid.
So he'd been training for, we'll go ahead and say 15 years, because I'd say Anakin was like early to mid 20s when he fell to the dark side. So he's got 15 years worth of training, and he was like pretty much a Jedi master. I mean, I know we can get into that debate. Um,
Yeah, he was an overachiever.
why? Yeah, but he was, dude. Part of it, I honestly think that Yoda and definitely Mace Windu were afraid of Anakin. They were
Yeah, he was an
absolutely
overachiever.
afraid of him. Um, so, but the other part of it is, with the living force, when Anakin, Darth Vader, lost his limbs, he lost that, that connection to the force, because he needed the full body to have the connection. And as he lost this arm and lost that limb and then lost both his legs, he had less of a connection to the force. But at the same time, like you were saying, Vader was in that suit and that caused him pain. That increased his connection to the dark side.
Yeah.
Um,
Hold up one second, Elf. I just looked up how old was Anakin when he started training. He was 9.
okay.
Yep. So that's what I figured.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, here and here's some of the things that I'm looking at from comparing Vader to um Kylo Ren. Vader, like I said, had a mastery of the Force. His lightsaber skills were there. His control and restraint, he definitely had control. He had way more control than Kylo Ren. His experience, like I said, he 15 plus years in the Jedi Order before becoming a Sith Lord. Um, and then his resilience. I mean, he was a cyborg, and in some of the extended canon, Bravo canon, if you want to call it that, we see Vader like seriously get torn apart. Um, if you ever played the game Force Unleashed, the first one,
Ooh,
I mean,
great
Vader
game.
gets, oh yeah, phenomenal game. But his suit gets ripped away, and you actually see the cybernetic pieces underneath. Um, I mean, in the Obi-Wan series, yeah, we saw, his mask get damaged by a lightsaber strike, and part of his suit get damaged, but nothing like how that game. And if you count that game as canon, I mean, all Vader had to do was go get his suit rebuilt, you know. Um, but Kylo Ren's strengths. Okay, so he's the grandson of Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker. So if we go with the thought that Anakin Skywalker was immaculate conception, right? That the living force created Anakin, whichever idea you follow. So he say Anakin was pure force power. It's diluted once when he had Luke and Leia with Padme, and it's diluted a second time when Leia had Kylo Ren with Han Solo. So, kind of my perspective, Kylo Ren has about approximately the fourth of the power that Vader had, or excuse me, Anakin had at his height. Um, but I mean, Kylo Ren does have raw force power. He does connect, have a strong connection to the force. He definitely has potential if the right master. If he was able to finish his training with Luke, he probably would have become as great of a Jedi, maybe even stronger than, say, somebody like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I don't know if this is a strength, but it says his aggression. You know, um, but yeah, definitely Kylo Ren is definitely not a Sith. He is um he's somebody that just part of the problem was we never got the backstory, the true,
Thank you.
that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem. I mean, yes, they kind of explained it in comics, but I don't know. To me, if it's not on screen in some way, shape, or form, it didn't happen really.
There goes vague.
Yeah, definitely big. Um, like for instance, the fact that what's his name, Snoke was a failed clone of Palpatine, and that was just kind of rudimentarily explained in like what the first 2 minutes, 3 minutes of the last movie. And it almost comes across, yeah, as Kylo Ren is walking into Palpatine's.
Why I don't remember that part?
Yeah, so when Kylo Ren arrives on Exegol at the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, um, he's walking into Palpatine's throne room, we'll call it. You see that there's these vats of stuff, and you see parts of Snoke just kind of floating there,
Mm.
and maybe I'm getting it mixed up with some stuff that was explained afterwards, because Disney did a lot of backpedaling and a lot of like explanation and like stuff like the novels and
Yeah.
some of the comics and other stuff.
Rob, hang on one second. Let me get this guy in here. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president. Mr. President, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well, sir. I had to replace my mic holder here, so it broke snap last night, so I had to put it together. It just came from Amazon, so I just got to put it back on.
Nice.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah.
So continue, Rob. You were saying?
But yeah, within the first few minutes of the Rise of Skywalker, as Kylo Ren's arriving at Exegol, you do see Snoke, and the idea was Palpatine was controlling Snoke through the Force and was manipulating Kylo Ren through Snoke. So Snoke was just a puppet, and so yeah, I mean, if Kylo Ren had been a Sith Lord of some sort, he would have definitely taken the surname of Darth, instead of.
So I would say this: I don't think Kylo Ren was ever a Sith Lord. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I think he was a spoiled brat more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on, like, get into it too deep, let's get Wally's opinion here and Paul's. Wally, go ahead.
All right. Well, I won't be here too long for this one because, again, I'm not that deep in Star Wars. But for the lack of thereof I do know of, I will say that definitely I do think Vader is a little bit more better. Here's my key points. So I think Kylo Ren is probably around the same. I wouldn't say exactly, but like in the taboo of like age range or give or take. He was sort of like Luke when Luke and Darth Vader fight each other at that point in time, give or take. And notice what it took Luke to actually beat Darth Vader. It had to took the influence of a little bit of hatred and a little bit convincing just to get over. Other than that, Darth Vader was going to handle him no matter what. So experience is a big key here factor. So other than that, personally, I looked at that and I say Kylo Ren doesn't really get nothing. Now, granted, yes, you say he's more faster. He has a better, more decent, flexible suit. And then, of course, he has rage behind him. All right, good, cool. I mean, it's all suitable when it matters. But then at the same time, let's be honest about one thing. Vader's not trying to kill his son, honestly. So that's another factor right there, where you eventually would have to take some sit back on that. So at the end of the day, definitely, if these two were to fight each other, I think clear as day, Vader would have owned Ren at this point, or Kylo Ren, or Kyle Ken. He would own him at this point, honestly. So that's just my main thing. And honestly, it's just his, like, I mean, his suit is all right, but his character is just so vague. Me watching that, it was just a complete turn off. Because I was like, as someone that's not like ultimately deep into the lore of Star Wars, it's like yeah, this was not what I expected.
Okay, Paul.
Yeah, I'll leave there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be close. I mean, I don't think Kylo, just given what we do know, and again, I'm not all into the expanded I haven't read all the backstory and backdrop, so I'm just kind of going based on the film history. From what I understand, I don't think he's ever completed his Jedi training. He definitely, the stuff that went down at the temple and whatnot, and the new school that Luke was trying to develop. I mean, certainly he was a promising pupil, but I don't think he ever made it to the rank of Jedi, let alone Jedi Master. And on top of that, I don't think he was really truly, trained as a Sith Lord. So he was neither. So he was kind of I would say, a high-end Force wielder, maybe to the extent of the Emperor's Imperial Guard. So if you remember those guys from Return of the Jedi, I believe those guys in the red scarlet robes, I think they were more so Force sensitive, if not fully trained. So he might have been like on that level of competency. And against a normal human being, you would think he certainly has some powers. He exhibited some powers that he certainly had. But as far as fighting, as far as learning forms, I didn't see a lot of that. And certainly when we talk about Vader, even going back to his Anakin form, I mean, there's no way he would be able to do that. But Vader basically created his own form that worked for him, using that he's more powerful in his suit than he was in, without it before he got his cybernetics. And, it's a very devastating style where he basically just beat people down. And he went against, again, this is a guy who went after former Jedi, after Order 66, after the last prequel film. This guy hunted Jedi down. And from the books that I read, especially the Rise of Darth Vader, he was very hard to beat because, every strike that he hit you with, it was like using a boxing analogy, it was like getting hit with a solid shot like every time. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So he just beat you up, and then take you out. And then, his use of the Force, I think was certainly ahead of Kylo's. I mean, yeah, Kylo could stop lasers coming at him and certain things like that. But Vader has shown abilities to bring down ships from taking off, or bringing, certainly hurling objects at his opponents like he did with Luke in their fight. And also keep in mind what the purpose of Vader's suit is. That suit was intentionally made by the Emperor. Again, this is going on the Rise of Darth Vader, to be uncomfortable. And the main reason for that is because it kept Vader in a constant state of anger and rage and discomfort. So he could really channel in his dark side powers and abilities. So it was intended because, there's been, after that book came out, people asking, why doesn't he just get a better suit? A more comfortable suit, something but no, there's a reason why he wears it. It keeps him constantly pissed off, and he's able to draw a lot of dark side energy from that. And he's got a lot of experience. He's taken on more Jedi than Kylo ever did. There really wasn't a Jedi when Kylo was around. I think he was, again, a rookie by all standards, never being I don't think he really completed Padawan training. And so he would wipe the floor just like Vader wiped up the floor with Luke in their first encounter. I think an encounter with Kylo Ren would be pretty similar. And if anything that gets you that would not convince you of this is simply he went up against a guy who had no skill whatsoever. And he was able to go some distance, meaning Finn in Force Awakens, who had he was just swinging that thing around. And even though he beat him, it shouldn't have lasted 2 seconds if he was legitimately somebody who, could be on Vader's level. So for all those reasons, I don't think Kylo Ren measured up. The only thing that I saw that was possibly something that at least we never saw Vader use was his ability to remove pain or injuries from somebody else. So certainly at the end of the Last Jedi, he was able to absorb, uh, um, um, you know, Skywalker's, wounds from her, and be able to, and he died, as a result of that. But yeah, I mean, this is a rookie versus a white belt versus black belt by several degrees, and so that is, that's kind of how I see it. It's no contest.
Before we move on, and I'll let Rob take over in a second. I got a vent for a second here. The third movie's definitely the last one, The Rise of Skywalker, was a clown of fucking movie. Why the fuck that a Jedi or a Sith or any kind of force user can stop fucking laser beams? Are you goddamn jerking me the fuck off? Like, and now you can heal people. Yeah, I can heal it to an extent, like not to the extreme they show to bring people back to life. The powers went out of control. Disney fucked that shit up. You guys disagree, please tell me.
Well, the first one, as far as him being able to
I mean,
stop one, I didn't mind it that much. I mean, because obviously Vader was able to stop lasers with his hand and whatnot, and deflect them off and whatnot. Again, I think each movie kind of showed you maybe some abilities that the Jedi didn't have. That one didn't take me back as much as far as that, again, that force healing, so to speak, or being able to take on something. I think that one kind of came out of nowhere. But I don't know, it didn't bother me. There's from what I understand, again, from the expanded universe, there's a whole ton of knowledge that is out there, and these holocrons and Sith holocrons, and there's all kinds of stuff out there that we're just kind of, just for the sake of the movies, we're kind of scratching the surface. But a lot of, especially on the Sith side, there's a ton of stuff out there that we haven't seen actualized in film. And I would think there's some Jedi knowledge and all those libraries and things like that out there, that there might be some abilities that folks may have had over others. Not every Jedi is the same, and just like any martial arts discipline, there might be certain aspects. I mean, there's like basics that every Jedi needs to know how to use a lightsaber and manipulate objects and force leap or force speed or super speed or something like that. But there's probably a whole host of things out there that, based on your individual abilities, that you may want to focus in on. And that may have been something that Kylo took an interest in. Either way, it didn't bother me too much, but I would admit that that was a very convenient way, I think, in the film to keep Rey alive. And so yeah, I wasn't expecting.
Okay, I'll give you the laser beam reflecting with Vader's suit, but he literally froze it right in the middle of like freezing time almost. So I found it kind of, Elf, what do you think about this? Jump in.
I kind of agree with Paul a bit. Like, each movie, they had to kind of continue to expand the force abilities, but at the same time, I also started to feel like, as the sequels went along, they were they by I mean the production team was struggling to come up with stuff, and they may have gone off and looked at something like some of these Star Wars video games that does have a force ability to heal, but that's within the concept of a video game. Like, how else are you going to heal? Like, go get health packs everywhere? But no, I think it goes back to a lack of understanding of Star Wars, lack of understanding of the material that you're writing for. And, you know, you need to have either sat down and watched or read the stuff, or just had a fundamental understanding of what you're getting yourself into. Um, because you can't, yes, you're writing for a movie that's going to be appeal to the masses, but then there's, especially something that's been around for decades, is going to have that core fandom that when you miss the mark on it, they're going to nuke you in place.
Like me and
I
you.
mean, yeah. Or I mean, and it's with everything. You talk about Star Wars, Star Trek. Lord of the Rings, any of these comic book universes that are out there. You can only get away with so much before the fans start going, nope, straight, straight BS, nope. And the problem is, especially when you bring in people like, I don't care how many franchises J.J. Abrams has been involved in, you slowly start to become a jack of all trades, master of none. Um, unless you're the guy that's actually creating them, like how George Lucas created Star Wars, and then he went off and created Indiana Jones with Steven Spielberg, and then he went off and created, well, he did only one movie, but he created Willow. That's one thing when you're the guy starting it, but when you're a director that's jumped from your own creations to Star Trek and did 3 movies, and then jumped over and did 2 movies with Star Wars with another individual in between it, and you're just kind of, you know, and that I mean that third movie, and there were all sorts of production problems with that third movie. I don't want to go into it, but it was just a hot mess. A dumpster fire is an accurate description of that last movie.
Yeah,
Um,
Wally, your
but
opinion?
So, in the art form of quote unquote adding extra abilities on the baseline, I wouldn't be mad about it for the simplicity of knowing certain people that were in the overall Jedi or the multiple many factors of the Force. Like, because if you got the Jedi, if you got the dark side, if you got every different type of different Force, I think every single type of those individuals should have a different type of ability that would enhance their own criteria. If that makes sense, right? Give or take. So from that baseline, I would sit here and say, well, let's understand one baseline. If you're a creator, what is the force at the baseline? And then how does that separate from the individual path of being a Jedi, being a dark side, or being a dark lord, or dark Sith, being and any other many others that are out there in the universe. And then from there, I think you build from that.
Okay. So before we move on, we have a special guest in the chat. Somebody that I didn't expect to be popping their head is we have Darth Maul himself. His statement is Darth Vader is better than Kylo Ren. Well, if you were in technical
Darth Vapor.
Vapor,
Vapor.
I know where he was. But if you really went technical, didn't Obi-Wan Kenobi, who trained Anakin, who became Vader, beat you? I'm trying to hit his blow. He sliced you in half. So, just saying, like, just saying. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna take somebody's opinion who got sliced in half. All right, Rob, go ahead. Take over.
Yeah, the Dark Maul is a different character, though.
True.
I think I think this is an open and shut case. I hate to say it like that. Like, again, we started to say it at the beginning. There's there was not enough expansion on the Kylo Ren character. We had, in essence, for at least the Vader slash Anakin character, you had 6 movies. And that's before all the other expanded stuff that came out of it. If you just want to stick to the movies, you had 6 movies on that Anakin slash Darth Vader character that explained basically everything. Kylo Ren was one part of 3 movies, and you didn't see much. I mean, the only thing you really knew about him from his past was he was Leia and Han's son, and he was trained by his uncle to a certain extent until he had, so
Mhm.
I,
Oh wow, he's a part of the bloodline that also trades sides. Ain't that something?
well, yeah, yeah. I mean, he did have a complex with his grandfather. I mean, Kylo Ren was obsessed with Vader, and I think he wanted to be him. But outside of that, I mean, I don't.
There's
It's
no backstory. That's my issue with this. With
Yeah.
Vader, we have a full, like you said, 6 movies of backstory. We know he was Anakin. He as Anakin, he became Vader. He did Order 66. He did some mess up things during Order 66. Slaying some younglings for starters, and so on. He he pretty much destroyed the Jedi Order. Let's be honest here. If it wasn't for him, maybe the Jedi would have overpowered Palpatine, whatever his fucking name is. But that is another debate
Yeah.
itself.
Overruled, you mean?
I'm sorry.
Pretty much
Yeah.
overruled.
Yeah. So with Vader, I mean with Kylo Ren, we have no backstory. We have a little clips here and there. You just see him at Luke coming over with the lightsaber. He was going to, who knows what he was going to do. Did that convert him to the dark side? What did? Let's start with that question.
Well, what turned him? I mean, what potentially pushed him? I think it may not have turned him completely, but it pushed him. It gave him that shove.
I agree.
So I mean, it was enough that potentially what happened, and this is kind of you're led to have these lines of thought, but after that scene with Luke at the Jedi Order, Ben Solo left, ended up finding Snoke at some point, and ended up starting to turn to the dark side, but he didn't fully become, a he wasn't a Sith again because we established it. He has to have the Vader, or not the Vader, excuse me, the Darth surname. So
Also, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is only one Sith Lord and is only one student.
Correct.
So
Yeah, and figure
yes.
with now with
and
now
that was established.
Go ahead, Angry.
No, I was gonna say that was established by Darth Bane because the biggest problem that the Sith were having is they were all vying for power and they're all vying for control and whatnot, and they were essentially destroying each other and they couldn't accomplish anything. So Darth Bane created the rule of two, which is there always be a master and apprentice. Now the big thing was during what is constituted as the Dark Times, or the period between the end of Revenge of the Sith and the beginning of A New Hope. You saw him in Obi-Wan Kenobi's TV show, and if you watched the cartoon Rebels, you saw him, but there were the Inquisitors, and they were fallen Jedi, but none of them, for the most part, were Sith. And usually the telltale sign of somebody is a Sith is the yellowed and red eyes. Those, like, go look at somebody like Darth Maul. He has those yellow and red eyes. Go look at Vader before Anakin got put in the suit. There's a point where he has those yellow and red eyes. Palpatine never did, but then again, Palpatine was a master of disguising who he truly was. I mean, he sat there for how many years as the Grand Chancellor, or the Chancellor of the Republic?
Yeah, a couple of years.
Yeah,
A couple.
and so, but the other thing is too is, well, wait a minute, before we go too far, Darth Tyrannus, otherwise known as oh, I'm drawing his blank. You can see his silly face. Oh, Count
getting
Dooku.
old.
Yeah, I know. I hate getting old. I can remember the actor's name too. Christopher Lee's character, Count Dooku. Count Dooku didn't have Sith eyes. But then again, Count Dooku, I don't think fully fell to the dark side. He just got fed up with the BS that was associated with the Jedi Order and all the political crap they had to deal with, instead of being straight out Jedi, keepers of the peace. They had all this other BS that they were doing. And he got disenchanted and he just kind of went over to the dark side because he got bored. But, the big thing is Kylo Ren was never a Sith. He never
Mhm.
came to that point. And, there's the whole thing about, well, what about the red lightsaber? I mean, no one said where he
It's a
got
saber.
exactly. Where did he get that crystal for his lightsaber?
Yeah, but even the lightsaber itself, it looks like it's not finished, right? I mean,
No.
I thought that's supposed to be like one of the last steps in your Jedi training. To be a full Jedi, you have to be able to construct a decent lightsaber, and it looks like it was put together with a Radio Shack kit, right? I mean, the wires were outside of it. The fact that it kind of it wasn't a smooth blade. I mean, that I thought that was part of getting. You have to by the Force get those kyber crystals to align perfectly in order to do that. So it just shows that he again he was getting close. And it's not like now, the fact that Luke was able to fashion his in the speed that he did it. I mean, they're definitely taking some leaps there in terms of the how he's able to learn that ability so fast relative to anybody else. But definitely
Yeah, man.
he did. But that blade that Kylo's lightsaber. Yeah, it definitely looked like it was. And it really wasn't even as powerful, I think, as a regular lightsaber. Because remember when he got pissed and he smashed that console up. I mean, if it was a true lightsaber, it's supposed to make these kind of precision cuts through anything, pretty much. And he damaged it, but he might have just did more of that. It's like he took a hammer to the thing more so than a precision instrument that's supposed to do what a typical lightsaber does. So again, to me, that just shows me again that he wasn't. Yeah, it'd be lethal on a human, but I don't know if that that again showed that he fully had a comprehension of what he was doing on either side.
And I'm not mistaken. Please
Right.
correct me if I'm off, but he's the only lightsaber that actually had two exhaust ports on the side like that.
Well, I had the what are they called? They're
What
called guards,
cross guards? I think
cross
Yeah.
guards.
Yeah.
Yes. So and once that lightsaber was established, then they went back and kind of like, oh yeah, the cross guards were always here. But yes, the first main character, the first out there character with the cross guards, yes. Um, and yeah, originally it was. You're right. It was supposed to be a exhaust port because the thing of it was Kylo's kyber crystal that was in that lightsaber was supposed to be fractured. And where did he get it from? He found Vader's lightsaber. Maybe he found somebody else's, red bladed lightsaber that he just jerry rigged and jammed that stuff in there to make it work. And it's kind of like, yeah, like Paul said, it was got a Radio Shack kit and just freaking slap that thing together. But a true Sith was supposed to go and find a kyber crystal and then bleed it so it turned red. Not like what was displayed in the Acolyte. That's not how it works, but okay.
Your favorite
But
show.
yeah, okay. We ain't going down. We ain't going down that dark path. No. But no, they were supposed to bleed a kyber crystal and basically kill it. On a side note, if you go look at Ahsoka's lightsabers, she has white lightsaber blades, right? And those were supposed to be kyber crystals that had been bled by a Sith and then healed. And she healed them, and when she healed them, they turned white. Um, anyways, but what Paul was saying too earlier about Luke, and how he was able to quickly build a new lightsaber after he lost his father's, when he fought his dad at the end of Empire. Luke actually no, well, they're deleted scenes from Return of the Jedi. But there's a couple of scenes where right before Luke sends R2 and C3PO to Jabba's palace, you see Luke completing his lightsaber in Obi-Wan Kenobi's hut. Supposedly, what happened is Luke was able to construct a lightsaber by reading the journals and the material that Obi-Wan had in his hut. And rumor has it that the green kyber crystal that he used had been Qui-Gon Jinn's kyber crystal from his saber that Obi-Wan had saved. But the point of the matter is Luke was able to construct a lightsaber from those journals. And if you look at Luke's second lightsaber, or his first one he constructed, and you go look at Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, they are very similar in construction because Luke had used Obi-Wan's journals to construct that. But the bottom line is, the Jedi that came before Luke had left him a bunch of stuff to use, journals, the books, it's shown in the second movie of the sequels. Luke had all those all those books. They're basically novels. But those Jedi material.
Page turners were.
Yeah, exactly. The note-taking material that they had from the leftover from the Jedi Order. But, Luke had all this material that he could go off of. Kylo is like Darth Elon. Yes, he is. But yeah, it's again, and I don't want to traipse all over Rey. And I'm not really going to go down this whole thing about Rey, but it's almost the counterpoint to Kylo Ren is Rey, and look how that character was developed. Basically Kylo Ren is the Dollar General version of Darth Vader. That's the best I can do.
Dollar General.
Yes, he is the Dollar General version of Darth Vader.
Indeed.
Oh my God!
Hey, question. Speaking of, since we're talking about lightsabers a bit, what is your favorite lightsaber from the movie series?
My favorite would have to be, though I don't have it. I'd have to say Darth Maul's, the double bladed. I mean, just simply that scene before the big final battle in the Phantom Menace. When the doors open and there's Maul sitting there in his hood, and he drops it, and he lights one side, and he lights the other, and then Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are just sitting there kind of like, shit.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question, Elf. Have you ever dressed up as a Jedi for Halloween?
No, I've never dressed up. The only Star Wars character I've ever dressed up as for Halloween was Han Solo.
Right.
I went as my wife and I went as a
now.
couple.
I thought you would dress up as a Jedi at one point or another.
It was only recently that I started to get kind of the couple of the cosplay stuff that's out there. I've got a Vader mask, I've got a Captain Rex mask, and then I've got a Vader and Obi-Wan lightsaber that I got the wall mounts for them so I can have them.
Right back. Keep going, all right?
Yeah, but I've got some cross saber action going. But I've got the Hasbro stuff. I don't have any of the high end.
Yeah, I'm saying just your favorite, just from what you've seen. Not that you own it, but just from what you've seen. What the best looking lightsaber?
Darth Maul's, without a doubt. That double bladed thing is awesome.
I got you. Yeah. Yeah, Wally, what about you? Do you have? I know you say you're not big into Star Wars, but any of the hilts that you've seen?
I mean, I know some of it, but I have to say, as far as just on a unique plane, it would have to be Maul's. I mean, I know there's some other ones that have different like handles to their saber.
Just kidding.
What in the fuck? What in the budget cut is that?
He wants to go fly a TIE fighter. That's what he wants to do.
Okay. Well, yeah, but like I said, yeah, Maul's will more likely be the best blade, would be the best one overall as far as just uniqueness. Like I said, if handles, I know there's some different people that had different lightsabers with different like type of handles, but other than that, yeah, that's pretty much the best one just for uniquely.
Yeah, I would say for me, it would have to be, honestly, I think Palpatine's. In terms of just like a beautiful looking lightsaber that you would want to have like on your wall or something. I mean, his was very, and it's weird given that he is a Sith Lord, but it had such a regal look to it. And then Mace's was unique. I mean, it's kind of the gold and purple sort of accents on it. So I would put though, and then one that obviously we didn't get a chance to see a lot of. I thought Leia's, because Leia's, it kind of had that crystal kind, like that kind of clear chamber kind of look to it that you didn't see in other ones. So I would, so again, we barely saw it, but I thought, hers was, very elegant as well. So I would say those three. And obviously Luke's is iconic because I remember it was on the Return of the Jedi poster with the double hands overhead and everything. So that's iconic as well. But I'd put those three right up there: Mace's, Palpatine's, and Leia's. I thought were very well handcrafted. If you were to buy a replica of that somewhere, it probably cost you, probably close to $1,000 or something. And if you wanted something that looked legit, like,
Well, you can go. Here. I mean, I haven't done it, but I know that you can. Well, one, there are plenty of people out there that make sabers, at least hilts and stuff. But you go to Disney now, you can go craft your own.
Actually, I'm going to push back a little bit on that one. If you go to some of the websites, Vader's Vault and some other ones, but the best one I found on the market to price a soundbar and identical from the movie is Saber Theories. His work is incredible. And second thing, how the hell do they breathe in this goddamn thing in the movies? I want to figure that out.
Put air holes in it somewhere.
There are air holes in those fucking things.
But I've got a better now that we've basically established that Vader mopped the floor with Kylo Ren. I've got another who would win. So if you look at the villains of the prequel series, right? And I'm talking about the main baddies: Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and General Grievous. All right. If you look at those three villains, one is a Sith Lord, one is a fallen Jedi, and one is a cyborg, right? They basically allude to Darth Vader, right? Because Vader's all three. He's a Sith Lord, he's a fallen Jedi, and he's a cyborg. All three, in some way, shape, or form, wield a lightsaber, or in General Grievous's case, multiple lightsabers. I ponder the question: if all three were in their prime, so Maul has not been sliced in half yet, Dooku has not lost his hands, and Grievous has not been disarmed, I propose who would win? Who do you think? Who would best? You would have Maul.
I give Maul.
I don't know. He lost. Look, Obi-Wan might be the best defensive lightsaber user out there. He lost to Obi-Wan when Obi-Wan was still a Padawan. So I like the aerial moves and the flips and all that, plus the fact that he did have a double wielding lightsaber, and he still got taken out. So I don't know. Maybe because of his, I think the fact that he was also still an apprentice that he still didn't quite mature enough yet. He didn't control his emotions. He just went for the quick kills. He went for the flashy stuff. But just like in martial arts, I mean, Pete, you probably speak to this. I mean, it's not just about being flashy. You got to be patient and you got to be disciplined. So, I mean, you got a lot of martial arts. They can do the most beautiful spinning kicks, 360-degree kicks, jumping, flying kicks in the air and whatnot. But those guys, I've seen a lot of Taekwondo guys get taken out because, again, if you it looks pretty, but in a real fight, it may not necessarily win the day for you. So I wouldn't necessarily put Maul up there as, the best because, he was beaten by somebody who really he shouldn't have lost to in the end. And then his arrogance when he thought he had him beat, showed again. He wasn't ready for the big stage.
Well, for me, the only reason why I voted for him is because it's been told that since regardless, like you put in like his arrogance and everything else, but definitely for Darth Maul, he was sort of different for the simple fact of even though he was cut in half, he wasn't quote unquote initially dead per se, as some people would say in the whole thing. So that's my thing right there. Because of that alone, it shows me like his endurance is a little bit more different than most, even if it cut. So it's like that right there for me is like you got a robot that's easily 1, 2, 3 done deal. You got a human that's just done deal. So when it comes in comparison, honestly, I think Maul has a better case than any of the three. I mean, any of the two besides him. So yeah.
Before we move on, let's get this guy in here really fast. So he is the most incredible person in the world. Of course, I am talking our little junior, our Groot.
Seriously, that's how you come in. That's how you come in.
You keep playing that song. That is not me. I ain't a Groot.
All right, hang on. Let's get the last guy in here really fast.
At least you got an
We
entrance.
got my boy in
At
here.
least you got.
And I gotta make you an intro. I'm working on you, Wally. Don't worry. I got some little surprise for you coming up.
You need to give me a better.
Yeah. With that, no. When he means spice, it means more trash. No honor.
Either give me a Black Panther entry or something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guy
Hey,
and
Joe,
a
what's
Groot.
up, buddy? How are you?
Who, me?
Yeah, it was good, man.
Oh,
How are
hey,
you?
how's it going? Listen to a lot of lies and nonsense.
Okay, let's get your opinion
About what?
about Vader versus Maul. What's your opinion about this?
Oh, Vader would annihilate him. Maul knew it. Maul admitted it. Okay, if
Okay.
you watch Rebels, he said it to Ahsoka. He said, I can't take this guy by myself. You got to help.
That's true. Yeah, Vader versus Maul. Maul knew that he would lose to Vader. That's true. And in fact, the only reason Ahsoka thought that she could handle Vader was because she thought that she could basically turn him back, or she actually she couldn't. Actually, she was still in shock. Now I come to think of it, when they fought, she was in shock that Vader was Anakin.
And she thought she could appeal to their former relationship and get in through to him, but no. But did she think she could fight him and beat him? No, not in a fight. And you just saw what happened. He just ragdolled her. He just beat the shit out of her the whole time.
Actually, the only excuse me, she technically lost to him. The only reason she survived was Ezra Bridger used the what is it called? The World Between Worlds, and pulled her out of that fight. And that's how she survived. If he hadn't done that, she would have been dead and nothing would have gone forward with Ahsoka. And, we wouldn't have seen her in live action, et cetera, et cetera.
True. And as far as this whole thing between, why is this a question? Qui-Gon, not Qui-Gon, but Kylo Ren versus Vader. How is that even a question? Like, Paul is absolutely correct. There is no question, no contest, nothing. Like Kylo has nothing for him at all. That's not even a fight. Like Kylo didn't complete the Jedi training. Neither was he a fully trained Sith. He was nothing. He was just, and everything about him was incomplete. If you look at the messaging, like his lightsaber, I heard you guys talking about that. It was incomplete. His training, incomplete. His mental state, incomplete. Vader knew who he was. He was just the ultimate killing machine.
Yeah.
He was stable. And he had mastered the Jedi arts and mastered the parts of the Sith arts that the Emperor taught, that Palpatine taught him. Because Palpatine kept a lot of stuff from him, too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Vader knew it. Vader found out, and Vader was secretly learning those things on his own, too.
Right.
He would find holocrons and things like that, go to different Sith temples and stuff and learn on his own.
Right.
So, I mean, Vader was a lot more powerful than even Palpatine thought he was.
Yeah. A question, Mandra, I wanted your opinion on this. Why do you think that, because I talked about Vader's suit earlier, and certainly the question has been raised as to why he never upgraded.
Yeah, I got you. Now, he could have done that. There's several reasons why he didn't. One, he used the pain from the suit to channel the force through it, right? But there's another one. He thought he deserved the agony that suit was causing him.
Mm.
It was a way of punishing himself for what he had done to the Jedi Order, to the galaxy, really. He felt guilty all that time. You know, so it was a way of punishing himself for it and atoning for it. The thing is, it ended up pissing him off anyway. And so, I mean, it's like, I don't understand, dude. You kill everybody anyway. So what's with the guilt?
Right.
You know,
I mean, the guilt would make sense if he was guilty about losing his wife. I mean,
he was guilty about that. He felt guilty about that too. But I mean, if you watched Obi-Wan,
you didn't like the show?
No. It was full of crap. It really was. Like it still was. It was so full of crap. Like Obi-Wan had no business winning that fight at the end. Like, no. This makes no narrative sense. Like, even in the context of just the show itself, Obi-Wan had detached himself from the Force so completely that he had trouble moving a little matchbox like 2 episodes prior to that big fight. He was trying to reconnect with the Force, and he was trying to move this little box or whatever. It wasn't even a big one. Like, it was, like I said, it was like a little matchbox. He was trying to move it, and he was having trouble doing that. But I mean, you're telling me you went full on blown back to your former self and beyond to beat Darth fucking Vader in a fight? No, you didn't.
It's like riding a bike, man.
No, come on.
Luke beat Vader in like 2 years.
No, but that's again, there's a difference. Okay,
that's what
that's influence. That's what training. And here's the thing: Luke had the Force itself on his side at that time. The Force was kind of working through Luke and helping him. So, because the Force is conscious, it is a living, breathing thing. We don't know what it is exactly.
Right. So you don't think that the Force could have then could have worked through Obi-Wan?
No,
I get this time what Mandela is explaining, because for one, when you go to a Jedi training, they train you how to use, not the Force to assist you.
Obi-Wan sucks.
According to what Mandela is explaining, when you detach yourself from something, like saying you're ripping a spine, and you're trying to get back into it, the logic doesn't really add up.
Right.
So,
like I said, like you telling me like 3 days ago you couldn't move a matchbox, but today you're moving a whole shit ton of boulders and hurling them at Darth Vader?
It's like that's like a clutch.
It's like in the beginning of the show when Princess Leia, like a 9-year-old, is running away from full-grown men in the woods. Like, how is she getting away? Like, what? You should be able to walk and take 2 steps and grab her by the wrist and take her where you want to take her. I mean, it makes stop.
Wally, go ahead, Wally. You had a point.
So Mandrell, so I know you know anime just like I do a little bit. Well, I know you know more than me, but yeah. But so what you're trying to say is Obi-Wan's like freaking Gohan. It's like Gohan, but magically they just make him look good every single time, right?
No, he's not like Gohan.
You may as well, because let's be honest here. Gohan is not supposed to be what he is either.
He's like
it's like you like Krillin.
no, he's not even that. He's like Korin, the little cat that sits up in the tower.
Oh, damn!
And just he's everybody's into being.
Oh.
And here's the thing, a lot of people don't.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of people are not gonna like my take on Obi-Wan. But I can explain my disdain for that character.
Why you not like Obi-Wan?
Because of that show. I was perfectly fine with him before that. I like the old man who taught Luke Skywalker. Loved him. You know what I'm saying? And again, and the actor who played him, who was perfect for Obi-Wan.
Okay, from that point. So right, so from that point that taught Luke, I'm saying.
Listen, even from reading the novels, I understand how Obi-Wan beat Vader in Revenge of the Sith. And when I read the narrative, because at first, just watching the film by itself, I was like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So he really couldn't even beat Anakin before he turns to the dark side. He gets the power boost from the dark side, and he loses to someone far away from him.
Look. Look, yeah. You're a boxer, so you know how it is when you're technically the best and you lose. And sometimes when you have the rematch, the guy who loses doesn't fare well in the rematch. You know that more than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying, Obi-Wan's got the psychological edge over him. And as far as his comeback, if Batman in Dark Knight Rises can get himself in full peak condition in a prison, eating what to get back in fighting shape to go up against Bane at the end of the movie.
Doing push-ups and pull-ups, eating grits.
He was able to work a safe act.
Right.
I'm just saying the magic
no medicine. No medicine.
Or grits and some bugs and some whatever else they were feeding him in that prison there. I don't know.
The muscle to go back
and he had a broken back. So he healed him first. He healed from a broken back. Got himself back in shape through the push-ups and pull-ups, like Mandrell saying, eating whatever. So maybe there had to be some bugs, and that's the only protein in that place was bugs and rats. So he went on a very Spartan-like diet in order to get himself back in the shape for his rematch with Bane. So hey,
yeah, but my thing is that show. I was like, no, stop it, Disney. Okay, stop it. Now,
Did you like the flashbacks to when him, first of all, did you like it when Hayden Christensen came back as a Padawan? They went back and over, or did you like that piece?
Oh, when they showed when he's a Padawan and Obi-Wan still got the best of him?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that makes sense. Anakin was arrogant. You see the arrogance and everything like that, but you're not quite there. Everyone kept telling me, yeah, you're good. You're far ahead of where you should be, but you're not there. You're not what you think you are yet. You know what I'm saying? You keep on the same road, you will be. Keep learning and stuff, you will be, but don't let your arrogance hold you back. And so, yeah, I get it. With that part. I did not understand the fight with Revenge of the Sith until the novelization came out. I read it. I was like, oh, okay. All right. This makes it better. Good. That's better. All right. You know what I mean? So it made sense then. But that show, man, no, you just gave Obi-Wan powers. And then you told me you did the same thing with Obi-Wan that you did to Rey. Let me just give you powers and just go do everything that's possible that can possibly be done with it. Yeah, but she didn't learn any of that stuff. How does she know what to do? And so the audience can't connect to that. They don't, the audience can't connect to a person who's given everything. The audience connects to a character who goes through the trials and the turmoil and learns and earns it. Luke earned it. We saw him training in like every single film.
No, you didn't see him training in Jedi.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, he did.
Was that okay in Jedi?
Well, you saw him talking to Yoda before he died. Like even knowledge is training.
Yeah, but that's not. No, he went back. He went back, and Yoda told him like, no further training you require. All that you have all what you need. So again, I don't know what happened in the what happened in the interim, but I'm saying, but there was no training in Return of the Jedi.
Okay, fair enough. But you saw him get in there.
And we know it was a timeline of about a year.
Hang on, we got a little guest here, potato chip. So this is my chef, by the way, so I got busted all of a sudden. So yeah, he thinks Obi-Wan is the best. Maybe because he looks like him.
No, listen, you're not beating Legends. I've said this before. Angry Elf was here when I said it. My favorite Star Wars character of all time is Revan. Now, his powers and skills and everything, they rival Legends Luke Skywalker. But is he going to beat Legends Luke Skywalker? No, he's not. I got to be realistic. You're not beating
Obi-Wan's pretty good. Look, he's almost undefeated.
Unfortunately, somehow
he's undefeated. He beat Maul. He beat Maul. He beat Obi-Wan. He beat General Grievous. I mean, the guy's got skill. But again, he has the only guy he didn't beat. I take it back. The only guy he couldn't beat is Dooku. But again, I think it's because what we always say in boxing, right? Styles make fights.
Yep.
Dooku's style was more like, it was like nobody saw it because he had that classic. It was always like a fencer.
Yeah.
And it didn't necessarily fit in with the other fighting forms that were the 7 other fighting forms that were available. So it was almost like they didn't know how to handle it.
Well, it actually is one of the 7 forms of lightsaber combat. He took it and number one mastered it. Then he modified it because it's not good against like things like blaster fire, deflecting blaster fire. So he had to modify the style for all of his weaknesses. But in doing that, he was doing a lot of shit people didn't know you could do with that style. So it threw everyone off.
Well, it wasn't the style, but the lightsaber itself, the way it was shaped.
It was curved. Yeah.
So again, nobody. It's like anything else. Like all Jedi, I guess you train, or at least you get knowledge of all 7 of those forms. But even then, it's like you get used to coming at you. It's just like I don't know how many of those guys train against a double-bladed lightsaber, for example.
They didn't by that time.
Right. So I'm just saying, I think he had the benefit of just being like not being familiar with that or not training against it. It's like anything else. Anybody can catch you on a, if you're not familiar, anyone can catch you on a good day.
Yeah. But
here's another thing about Dooku beating Obi-Wan is technically Dooku was his quote unquote grandpappy master because Dooku trained Qui-Gon and Qui-Gon trained Obi-Wan.
Right.
So there's a little bit of maybe the advantage of, I know how you were trained. I know how to beat you. So
yeah, until Obi-Wan took Sarisu and practice to the point where he was better at that style than anyone else in the Jedi Order, including Mace Windu.
Mm-hmm.
He was better at Sarisu than anyone else. Even Mace Windu acknowledged it. He's like, man, he's become a Sarisu master. And Mace Windu was like, no, he is the Sarisu master.
Right.
He is the absolute master of that form, and it's an all defensive form.
Correct.
He mastered it.
Right. And so all those guys, all those other opponents that he beat, they all had these aggressive styles. Maul went at him, Grievous, and Obi-Wan. I mean, Anakin went at him. So again with Dooku's style, again, his is kind of like a defensive style. Also, it's not meant to.
It's a counter style.
Correct. So it's like So again, that's Sarisu against that style that Dooku modified. Yeah, it's not a good matchup. Like if we were promoting a fight, I would tell Obi-Wan, I was like, nah, he's not for us, baby.
No,
he's not for you, man. I said, let's fight somebody else, but don't fight him. Because again, styles make fights. I mean, and I think that's a losing style against that form. Where when Anakin fought him the second time, it was much more aggressive, and definitely had him on his heels. Again, very good.
Dooku, like I said, his form was Makashi. I think it's form 2. If I'm not mistaken, Makashi. That's when but it is like a fencing form, and he took it and modified it because no one else is really doing it because they're like, yeah, but when are we going to get the Sith going? When are we going to get into lightsaber on lightsaber combat? That's why they put people in training, and they were like, got them familiar with it, but no one dwelled on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then here comes Count Dooku, who's taking that one style to the nth degree, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, and no one could do anything about it because he could be both aggressive and defensive with it. And plus, you know, his master was Yoda.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, what are you going to do? And plus, he had been dabbling in the dark side before all this. He could do Force Lightning before he even met Sidious. Before he even knew that there was a Sith Lord, a Sith Master out there, he was doing because he had Qui-Gon Jinn on a mission with him as a Padawan, and Qui-Gon was in trouble. And what's the name? Dooku was way far away in the woods, and all of a sudden, this big jolt of purple lightning came out and hit the enemy that was fighting Qui-Gon.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Qui-Gon suspected from that point on. He's like, okay, what the hell is this? You know, I'm gonna sit back and wait till he tells me. That's the way Qui-Gon took it.
Mm.
But yeah, he had been dabbling in the dark side and actually was able to do Force Lightning without being struck with Force Lightning because Palpatine's master told him that, okay, in order for you to master Force Lightning, you have to be hit with it because you have to absorb the energy into your body and be and all and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah. So he was fucking Palpatine up with it, you know, to get him to learn it. And but Dooku got to the point where he could use it to a pretty decent level without that.
Mm.
So you
now let me ask you guys this: what's your yeah? Let me ask you guys this: do you think? Because I've heard some theories about Palpatine and what he actually looked like. Do you think that was always Palpatine, or that he was warped into that by Mace reflecting the?
No, he was warped into that long before Mace. He was warped into that because of the constant, you know, exposure to the dark side of the Force. And he was so inept. He was so attuned with the dark side. After a while, it does that to everybody.
Right. So I'm saying that was essentially all we saw to that point was a mask.
Unless you're pure blood Sith. You're pure blood Sith. I'm talking about the people with the red skin and the black hair.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do you like that. You know what I mean? Because you grew up on Korriban, and Korriban is a dark side nexus, and your body's adapted to it. But anyway, yeah, seeing him as the normal looking human, yes, I think Ingrid said it earlier. He was absolutely right about that. He had mastered cloaking himself in several different ways. Like he could mask his presence in the Force. That's why he could be in the same room with all those Jedi masters, and no one sensed anything. Yeah.
Yoda kind of did.
No, but the thing is, it was to the point where
he was like, he kind of gave him the look like something's up, but he couldn't quite get his thing on.
But here's the thing: even Plagueis, his master, couldn't sense when he would walk in the room, and it disturbed him. Like, and here's the thing: that he was Palpatine had gotten to that point, and it was like, and it disturbed Plagueis because it's like, okay, this is my Padawan. How am I going to keep him in check if I can't even sense his presence? And I have this close relationship with him, and the whole nine. Like, he was able to mask himself regardless of the circumstances of the relationship to the individuals he was with. He was really good at that. So him masking his face, yeah, dude, he was already like that. But he fit with the dark side anyway. He was a psychopath. When you read his backstory, yeah, he was a psychopath.
Yes, totally.
Oh yeah, I read
it. Palpatine was crazy.
He was damaged, bro.
You really, man. That's a question really fast. Who do you guys think was the most powerful Sith Lord in the whole lore of Star Wars
of all time?
Yeah.
Valkorian.
Why?
Bane?
Tenebrae. No. I would say Bane after that, but yeah, Tenebrae is when you can control an entire planet full of people with no exceptions, and I'm talking even people who are trying to hide or live underground, didn't matter. When you subjugate an entire planet with Ben Will, I think that's the name of it, but of the ability. But yeah, he made an entire planet of people him, like a hive mind, and he could turn it on and off at will. Like, and then his Force Lightning was beyond Palpatine's. It was insane. Like he could do like black lightning. It was insane.
Okay, who one goes next?
Yeah, just wanted to, and I'm going over all the conspiracy theories tonight, so I'm asking these questions as a result of that. I guess my next one would be, Do you think Mace survived?
I wish he did, but Disney's not smart enough to A, do that, or B, skilled enough to write a compelling story to explain how. I wish,
and I don't, and I agree with you, and I don't want Sam Jackson coming back, especially after seeing Secret Invasion. But do I think he survived? Absolutely. In fact, I got a custom action figure of what he would look like after he survived.
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Would you like to see it?
Oh, why not?
I'd love
Throw
to
my
see
toy
it.
out.
Give me a moment.
And while you're contemplating that one, here's another one. Now, again, getting back to the theme of the show, as far as Kylo versus Vader. Now, from the movie, Luke started having these dreams and visions. In fact, and this might even tie to Anakin himself. These dreams and visions that he was having of the worst possible outcome. So again, with Anakin, it was always about he was worried about Padme and her dying and all that kind of stuff, or his mom. That was always something it seems like the Emperor was able to manipulate and play on. Do you think that those visions and dreams that Luke was having about Kylo, do you think maybe those might have been planted by the Emperor?
I think Kylo doesn't exist.
You think?
Honestly, I mean, listen, dude, none of that makes any sense. It is no.
But why would Luke?
It doesn't make. How does that affect Luke? Grandmaster Luke, fucking. Skywalker?
But it took him to the point where he actually was imagining that he would basically destroy the entire Jedi or the new Jedi order that he was trying to build.
Well, it's affected in that way enough to kill his own nephew, who was a child, no less. No, I agree with Mark Hamill. That's not Luke Skywalker.
That's Jake's soy walker.
No. There you go. That was not Luke Skywalker, man. No.
I totally agree. In fact, when I walked out of seeing what was the second one? Last Jedi, I was like, dude, that was,
I can't remember the title.
That was
me neither. Don't worry, bro.
You're talking about a guy that was one of the most resilient individuals throughout the original trilogy. The guy that was happy-go-lucky even when he was down, getting his ass beat, and he has a few nightmares and he decides to toss it all away. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
No. Well, I mean, they basically just wiped out. I mean, the whole purpose of Disney, they treated the series like a toy line. We need to sell new toys, and so we got to get rid of the mainstays. We got rid of Han in the first, Luke in the second, and Leia in the third. So it's just, again, having no understanding of the
all over again.
Yeah, they just wiped. Yeah, exactly.
I don't watch Star Wars no more.
Let me put a twister here.
For the storyline.
Let me put a twister on all you guys, because we have all you guys on the panel for once. And Rob, go ahead, Rob. Show off your little Barbie girl.
No, this is Mace Windu if he survived.
Oh wow.
Yep. So my
Nice.
question to you guys tonight is, like Rob said, was it last week or week before? Is a hard rumor out there that Disney's trying to get rid of Star Wars right now. If they do,
it's no longer a hard rumor. That's fact.
Oh, when it became fact?
This week they've been shopping it. They've 100% been shopping it around, and they can't get a buyer.
So, okay, let's say they do find a buyer. Who would you like to see buy Star Wars? You think it would do justice to a series like George? Man, my brain is fucking froze. George, what's his name?
What, Lucas buying it back?
Lucas, thank you. I don't think George Lucas is going to buy it back.
No, Lucas is too old. He's
no,
in his 80s.
He could. I don't know if he has the cash here to buy it back.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Even if he saved the $4 billion, I don't. But I'm just saying. But even if he did, it doesn't mean he has to be actually involved. But I think as far as creative control, I would love to see him buying back for the simple fact that he would have creative control, just like he did all those years. I mean, the expanded universe was beautiful under his under his reign. All the books that were written, again, The Rise of Darth Vader, which is still my favorite book out of the Star Wars, out of all of those novelizations. I think, he knew when to, give it over to people who would treat it seriously. So as long as he's got creative control over that, and I don't know, his kids, he's probably got grown kids by now. I don't know how involved or that they would be with
I'm
it.
going to tell you why he will never buy it back. The biggest reason is towards the end of the prequels, he got such backlash the way he's doing it, and now people love the prequels. And he was getting hammered. Why do you do this? You don't know what you're doing. He was getting punched in the dick after punch after punch after punch, and that's when it was final decision. Like, that's it. I am done. And I think he was trying to sell Star Wars for years and years and years. I'm not positive.
Well, to be fair,
it's true. He was trying to sell it, and a lot of what he certainly felt a lot of that backlash, as you said.
Yeah.
But then after it was sold, after The Force Awakens came out,
got even worse.
It was like, what have I done?
Yeah.
It's like Captain Kirk after blowing up the Enterprise, in the Wrath of Spock. The Search for Spock. No, the Search for Spock.
Your limit on talking.
He's like, my God bones, what have I done? When you saw the Enterprise blow up, George Lucas had that Enterprise moment. It's like, my God, what have I done?
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, Paul. I'm agreeing 100%.
What?
But what I'm saying is, the question for everybody is across the board. Let's start with Rob and go down. If he found you, who would you like to buy Star Wars? You think he can do justice to the series? Forget money. Who would you like it?
I think at this point it doesn't matter who purchases it. The bare minimum, what needs to happen, and I'll be honest with you, I've war gamed this in my head. I already have the plan. If tomorrow morning I get the phone call that said, "Hey, you're fixing Star Wars," the first thing I'm saying is, we're going on a hiatus, a minimum 5 years, no material. We're going back to the dark times where there's nothing on screen. Maybe I would I'd let Andor go because Andor is completely finished and it's waiting for its release date, which is in 5 weeks? No, in a month. It's in a month. Maybe depending how far along that Mando Grogu movie is, I might let it go. But after that, it would be nope. Everything else is cut, and I would cut down everybody down to a crew of people that I trust, and I would go a minimum of 5 years with nothing. I would let novels come out. I'd let comic books come out. Of course, continue to produce toys if you can get people to buy them, but out in video games. But it would be like all this stuff it's cool and it's fun, but it's not canon. And during that 5 year period, we're reworking how we're going to save Star Wars and what we're going to do to fix Star Wars. I think Star Wars right now needs a minimum of 5 years, preferably 10 years with nothing outside of printed material and video games. No movies, no TV shows. Huh?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think we can see a 10-year hiatus. No way. Somebody's going to drop millions and millions of dollars. No way, 10 years. They want to try to get their return as soon as possible.
Hold on. I see what.
Honestly, I would agree with Angrio.
That, because that angle makes kind of logical sense. But if you want to say Star Wars, two things can happen. If you take a hiatus, what he said is logically correct. Or the other one is more harder than you can ever imagine. A complete reboot. Scratch out everything and start from the very, very beginning. But this time, you move every single character you had in the franchise. Say we're no longer using them no more. You gotta find new actors, new actresses. Don't have much of a big name, and you build them from the ground up.
David, I love you like a brother, bro. But that is like you're asking for a suicide. If you tell that to any, hang on. If you tell that to any very hardcore Star Wars, let's reboot it, and they're gonna look at you like, "Do you want to die?"
No, I'll ask them, "Do you want to suck a nut?" Because first and foremost, how you say you want to die when the original creator, y'all were backstabbing him? I would tell the audience, suck a sour nut first. when you are a creator, when you create something and you put your heart in it, unless you can put that type of work, you need to shut the F up because when Lucas built this franchise, you didn't appreciate what he was creating because that was his brainchild. But who are you, who is a spectator, who had no creativity whatsoever to tell how he put to create his movie or what direction it's supposed to take? So that being said, continue to suck on a sound until your face disappear. This is what the problem
That's
with
correct.
the American movie industry. People can dictate how the movie is supposed to. No, you go to the movie university, learn how to write a movie, learn how to write a script, learn how to produce it before you can run your mouth. So why would I listen to somebody if I'm going to invest my money to buy a particular franchise that have been done dirty and I want to do it properly justice? By the time I'm going to reboot it, I'm going to reboot it. If you got a problem, choose what not to suck on. I don't have to listen to you. What I'm going to do is to respect Lucas, what he built for over how many years, and do it just and this time do it properly right from book one and grow the character over time. If I had to wait until 4 or 5 years building this project, then so be it. Because there was a roadmap of how it's supposed to be done. When it got into Disney said, nah, we need to follow this, figure it out. What do you have right now? A
Dude,
school of
what
salad.
I'm saying to you, I'm not saying can I take a hiatus. I agree. A minimum 4 or 5 years. I agree on that part. I'm not pushing back on that. 10 years, I don't see that because the companies want to get their income, their profit. You know, make a profit. They want their money back
I know,
eventually.
but
Hey,
that's
hey,
why I
hey, let
said
me
that.
finish. Let me
Okay.
finish. So, like Luke Skywalker is one of the most popular Star Wars character. Even a 2-year-old baby know who Luke Skywalker is. For them to
Get that.
reboot the main characters, I don't see that happening. People are gonna
And,
be outraged.
and they're gonna be outraged, but here's the problem: if nothing,
Well, that's
if
the
nothing
price
is
of
done to
giving your
not.
child over to someone else, and then they
You
go fuck it up.
But here's the thing: Luke did his best. The public shit on him. The public who got no brain cell shit on him. He was forced to sell it to avoid extra stress. And when he sold it to the wrong group of folks, you can imagine it was like, I just fucked myself, really. Did I? I sold it to the wrong group and look at it.
Look, can I?
And
So
it was like, there's no way to. How you going to recover it? And let's be honest. Look at it from a creative point of view. If you want to save a particular franchise, either you follow the Eggy Elf path, what he say is totally correct, take a
yeah.
hiatus, and try to figure out what to get done, which is the most logical step, the first one. The second step is much harder. When you want to say something, you gotta start from scratch from the ground up, which means you will have to script all the characters. But then again, look how long this franchise have been here. Since what, the 60s to 70s?
77.
Uh,
77. Thank you very much. 77. To what year we on? 2025. How many years is that?
48 years
48
this May.
years. So you don't think it's about time to do a proper reboot? And this
No,
time do it.
nope,
it's
no
going to kill the
reboot.
franchise. Trust me, David.
At
Um,
best, pull one from Star Trek and don't do a reboot. At best, I would do a Star Wars: The Next Generation. Like jump ahead. Oh,
I'll take that.
we'll go 80, maybe 100 years. And
uh,
but look at what
that's
happened.
tough.
You're right, Wally. I won't agree. I won't argue with you. It's like catching lightning in a bottle again. But look how it worked for Star Trek. And if you think back to the late 80s on what was going on with Star Trek, the original crew was in movies. So they had movies coming out every 2 years or so at that point. And Paramount, who owned Star Trek at the time, wanted to bring Star Trek back to the small screen, and they elected to go with a new crew. They jumped about 80 years into the future, And I won't argue with you. It took about 3, pushing 4 years for Next Generation to catch on. But once it caught, it spawned what was it? Almost 15 from 87 until
I'll look it up right now, Rob. Give me a second.
2003.
I'll look it up right now.
So
But I
look,
get what saying.
I,
It's
I'm not saying what you're saying is. Hold on, Dave. Hold on. I'm not saying what you're saying wouldn't be plausible,
Right.
because in a sense that also too erases the damage that's already been left
bingo.
towards the tail end of what they've done already.
Yeah.
But here's the reason why I said that it is a tough sell, because at least just from the just looking at it, it's like, well, then you have to ask yourself, well, what has transpired in the mix of you just jumping for so much years and forward? What has transpired to really clear it? Because so now you're just really just bringing me into something, and it's like, well, what has transpired since then? Like, what has ultimately transpired? And so if you keep the tail of that burden, and then you're forwarding forward, it's like someone's going to eventually ask, well, where did this all really came about? Like, how will we jump forward to this? How do we jump forward to this? Someone's going to ask that question. So for me personally, I am not going to lie. I would I would literally shoot myself in the foot and do it and hit the button, because sadly, let's be real about it. You had a moment where you bought a franchise. You knew what it was. And this is the problem with a lot of people a lot of these industries that tend to do things. You buy a franchise that is beloved, that was very well nurtured, and then what you did, you fucked up the child that motherfucking was taken care of very well, and then you made it into this outraged teenager / adult,
Well, they didn't.
young adult that just walked the world out of nowhere.
They molested the child. That was molestation. Sorry.
I try to keep this clean, sir. I try to keep this damn shit clean.
And I'm trying to be obvious about what Disney is.
We all trying to be very obvious.
And if you want more proof to how much damage has been done to Star Wars, let's think back 10 years, 2015, right before the new movie came out, the Force Awakens. I don't know how many of you went into the toy aisle. I was there. I'm a toy guy. But if you recall, Star Wars had a large presence in the toy aisle, in the boys section. It usually had, probably about 20 feet of retail space. Now, if you walk into your Walmart or your Target, they've got probably
It's bunched up with all the other toys.
Yeah, it's about 4 feet. And most of those figures have been sitting there peg warming for months. And no one buys Star Wars. I mean, it's no one. For instance, go look at what happened with Skeleton Crew, and that's how bad it is. I had to think about the damn title of the show. Apparently, Skeleton Crew was very good. I couldn't get past the 3rd episode. It's the same thing that's going on,
and no more.
Exactly. It's the same thing that's going on with Daredevil right now. Apparently, I've watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm probably 3/4 of the way through the 3rd episode. But it's like, I can't watch this stuff anymore. I'm not interested anymore. It's we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I went and saw Captain America: Brave New World. I really wanted that movie to be great. And then as the movie just progressed, you could see how it kind of fell apart. And it was mostly not the storytelling. It was just how the movie was done. These franchises that Disney has gotten their hands into, they've just warped them into shells of the previous selves. Like, Star Wars needs to be put on a hiatus. Somebody who loves and cares about Star Wars needs to come in and take charge of it. And whatever they plan on doing, they need to put a ton of love into it. They need to put a ton of time into it. And I don't know. I mean,
real quick, Angry Elf, I just want to ask you this.
Angry
I know
Elf.
you said this earlier, right? I wanted to know.
This might sound crazy.
Did you mention that they went amongst you?
Go ahead, Water.
Now I was gonna ask just one quick question because I remember you. I know you mentioned something about like some requirements, right? Amongst the hiatus, you said that they need to work on building on the book side of it, like still keep the story alive, something like that, or however, or how you saying?
Well, so in the 90s, all right, so in between the end of the original trilogy with Return of the Jedi and before Phantom Menace came out, Dark Horse Comics did a bunch of comics. George Lucas gave him some rules about you can't touch this time period, which was basically the Clone Wars period. But you could go all the way back to the beginning of the Jedi and the Sith, or you could go forward from Return of the Jedi. And then there are a whole bunch of novels done by Della Ray, I think was the publishing company, and people just produced stories, mostly talking about what happened after Return of the Jedi. You had a whole bunch of stuff by Timothy Zahn, Heir of the Empire trilogy, and just a bunch of stuff telling what happened, the continued adventures of Luke, Han, Leia, and the crew. But these novels were what kept it going. And then, yes, EJN, Shadows of the Empire. Shadows of the Empire, if you're not familiar with it, was a
Fantastic.
multimedia event. Yes, a testing event. They did everything they usually do when they bring out a movie, but they didn't bring out a movie. They had a video game, they had a novel, they had comic books, they had action figures, they even had a soundtrack. But they just didn't produce a movie. And it was this story that bridged Empire Strikes Back to Return of the Jedi. And it was phenomenal. People like were over the moon for this stuff. The only thing I didn't get was the video game on N64 because I didn't have an N64. I had the novel. In fact, where's the damn novel?
Same here, Angry.
Downstairs, I think.
I got it. Well, here's the thing. I got it on Steam when Steam released it. That's when I played Shadows of the Empire. But I always wanted to play it, and Angry Elf is correct. But to add to what you said about Captain America, it's a sad testament to Disney because it's a movie that could have been great, but it was a movie that didn't know what story it wanted to tell. Sam Wilson is a fantastic Captain America in the comics, and he could have been as superb, even better than Steve Rogers in the films if they written the right story. Just write a story and tell a good story. We don't need elements of this and elements of that. Like Red Hulk, why? It's like, why? But I mean, I'm here. I'm gonna go. I was like, okay, but I'm here. I'm gonna go with it. You know what I'm saying? Did I like the movie? Yeah, but was it as good as Winter Soldier? No, like no way, nowhere near it.
Well, of course not.
But here's the thing, because to me, Winter Soldier is not only the best Captain America film, but probably the best thing Disney's done in the past 35 years, maybe 40 years. Like Winter Soldier was that film for me. You know what I mean? And I want that caliber of film for Sam Wilson. Not because he's black, people, but because the character from the comics deserves a story. Because he has stories like that in the comics. He has stories that are just that intense. Yeah. The stakes are real. And all they had to do is tell it. And write the script and tell it. But they wrote a bunch of different elements from a bunch of different stories. And then we got what we got. And people, that's why people couldn't follow it. They weren't telling one story. You know?
And that's why I say what I say about the American movie industry. The storytelling skills is lost. All they look at is, okay, you put some big name actors, you put some fireworks, put some night fight scene, you don't get too shit by the storytelling, and you make a movie. Let's see how much we can make off that. And no offense, the American public have been so dumbed down. They fall for some of these shit. Let's be honest. To me, my greatest all-time movie of all time, which I'll watch a million times, will be Lord of the Rings.
So, David, my only thing I was going to say.
Wait, you're telling me your favorite movie is Nerd of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings. Without saying that, it's a storytelling. They put their emphasis in the
storytelling. The books about. Here's the thing. What Lord of the Rings did is what the showrunners of Game of Thrones were doing for the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, but then they just shit the bed because they ran out of books they ran out of books to interpret. There's no more source material because George R. R. Martin still has 2 books to write. My colleagues, they think that he's going to finish the books. I don't think he is. Winds of Winter hasn't been released yet, and you still got a Dream of Spring. And with the pace that he writes it, nah, dude, he'll be 106 before the time he's done. If you know what I mean. So,
Lack
but
of
the thing
creativity.
is, what they did with Lord of the Rings is you had this source material, right? So you had to adapt the source material to film, and they did a great job of doing that. Superb job. They really did. Even the stuff that they added that wasn't in the novels, like with The Hobbit. Like Legolas wasn't in The Hobbit, the book, because there's only one book for The Hobbit. Legolas wasn't in there.
There's
Neither
only
was
one.
Ariel, you know. But so when I saw that kind of stuff in the movies, I was like, wait, what's this? You know what I mean? Like, why is Legolas here and all that? But again, I was like I did with Captain America. Hey, I'm here. I'll go for the ride. You know. But Angry Elf is correct. It boils down to this: they're not telling good stories. We want a good story with these characters. You did it with Captain America. You did it with Iron Man 1. And I hate Tony Stark. I hate him. I do not like Tony Stark at all. For people who want to know why I have such vitriol for Tony Stark, I read Civil War because, and you have to tell you, when you're deployed, you've got shit to do. Okay, until you don't. You got a lot of shit to do in the deployment. Okay, but when you got downtime, there is downtime. There's lift weights and eat, nothing else. Okay, and a lot of PlayStation and Xbox. All right, so
Yep.
I had my parents send me these books. I get my long list of books to send me, and so in my downtime, I read all this stuff, comics, novels, things like that. And so that's why I know all this stuff. I was reading all this shit, because I was lifting weights, and then I was reading these novels and comics. So Civil War comes out. Tony Stark betrays Spider-Man and tries to kill him. I was like, "Fuck you forever," because Spider-Man was the first person to side with Tony Stark when it comes to revealing your identity and stuff like that. And he agreed with Tony Stark and all that. And then Tony and then Spider-Man's like, "Hey, Tony, listen, man, we need to slow this thing down because this is going too far. This isn't what I signed up for. You're actually locking up people who hadn't done anything wrong. You're going after people who hadn't done anything wrong. They're not bothering anybody. They're not doing it. They're abiding by the law and all that stuff. So what's this about now?" And then Tony's like, "Oh, you're gonna leave? Yeah, man. I think I'm gonna go home." Well, I'm disappointed. He starts blasting away at Spider-Man and set him up because Spider-Man tries to run, and then you had like 4 people from his Rose Gallery. You had Green Goblin, Mephisto, not Mephisto, Mysterio. He had a couple of others there. The Lizard. They ambushed Spider-Man because Tony sent them there to do so, and then the one who saved him was the Punisher. But because of that betrayal, I hated Tony Stark from that moment on.
Saved him.
Yeah, Punisher saved him.
Yep.
Exactly. And I was like, from that moment on, I was like, no, thank you. Fuck Tony Stark. So Iron Man came out. I almost didn't go to the cinema to see it, but everybody's raving about it, how good it was. So I went and said, but that was you took a character that I hated. Yep. And you wrote such a good story that I'm like, I enjoyed that movie. Maybe he's all right. And forget about it. Robert Downey Jr., I mean, come on. The man's talent is just out of this world.
Incredible.
Yes,
he's incredible.
Just out of this world,
What I was going to say earlier, Disney, before it became this big ass destruction con, it destroying all the movies when it was actually pushing good movies out back in the day. When you used to get 1 or 2 a year, and they were pushing them before stream, before everything. The old Disney would have had a good success with Star Wars. Now in Disney, it's like diarrhea from the mouth.
Well, my thing is this with it. Okay, no one did anything different. Like, take the first film of the latest trilogy, the one with Rey. Okay, I told people, I said it should have just been called Star Wars Greatest Hits. Because you did all of the same things that the original trilogy did in one movie. Like, there was nothing different. This isn't interesting to me. I hope they pick it up in the second movie. Second film comes around, I don't even remember it. Bits and pieces coming out. You had You had so many interesting elements though that you could have gone directions you could have gone with. You had the First Order. You had a black stormtrooper. Why that was such a big deal, I don't know, because you got Wookiees, Tauntauns, and whatever the fuck Yoda is. Okay, it's a very diverse universe, but a black stormtrooper, that's where you draw the line. Anyway, I'm digressing. But he was force sensitive enough to break through the brainwashing of the First Order. You had a force sensitive fucking First Order stormtrooper. That's not interesting, really. You didn't explore that at all. You did nothing with it. And then you had this chick who was Brianna Tarth played Brianna Tarth in Game of Thrones. She has a chromed out stormtrooper outfit. Everybody's wondering what's that about. What is it? And then in the second movie, you see is laser proof, and so you wonder why. But you have to read the comics to see that. So when I saw that it started in the comics, I was like, oh, okay, that's how she got that. Got it. Cool. That's interesting. But anyway, Fatima, that's her name. You did nothing with this character. Nothing. You have this Asian chick, nothing against her being Asian. However, the character, you gave her something stupid to do. There's kids there being enslaved, but oh no. And that's fine with her. But oh no, these animals that they race, we gotta free them. And what about the kids that they're having slavery? Nothing for them? Nope. That's all right. Let's free the animals. Then the third movie comes around, and then Rey moves a whole bunch of boulders and saved everybody. I'm like, when did she learn to do that? How is she doing this? And then Grandmaster Luke Skywalker shows up. I'm like, okay, cool. He's finally swinging into action. He broke out of the bullshit. Come on, Grandmaster. Let's see what you got. And you kill him. Of all things to do, you killed. Why would you do that? No. Again, they had a lot of interesting things to do with, even with the characters that they had, but they did nothing with it. The coolest thing about the entire trilogy is when someone took a Star Cruiser and went warp fucking speed through a Star Destroyer, which is badass, by the way. Still. I don't care what else they did. That was actually pretty badass. I mean, yeah, that was the fucking answer. More of that, please. But no, they did nothing with the series because they just didn't. They didn't think of interesting stories to tell. Like, one more thing. I know it's a rant, but one more thing. The Acolyte. Okay, a bunch of dumb shit's happening. Okay, all throughout this movie, no character knows what they want to do or who they are. Okay, character motivations are all over the place, Paul. Do not watch that show, okay? And then you had one of the greatest lightsaber fight scenes ever in Star Wars, right? Really cool. But then immediately in the same episode, and at the end of that fight even, I couldn't even enjoy the whole fight because you went right back to the dumb shit. Stop! What is this? Where's the story? Where's the story? You had a guy from Korea who played in Squid Games. He learned English specifically to play this role, and he was excellent at it.
Yep.
He did a good job. You brought in Cortosis. Thank you for that. But it's like, okay, you have things here to work with, but you just don't. Where is your creativity? Because that ain't it. Sorry, it's not. Fan films are better than this. Those are the shorts on YouTube. I think Paul said it before, and I agree with him wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
guys.
who's that guy? I forget the digital artist, and then he's done Capans. He's done all kinds of different things where he's able to get the faces of the CGI guys looking more authentic than the ones in the movie. But yeah, I honestly think
If you can respect my property, no one to question my decision. I know, I took it.
all right, David, you good?
Oh, sorry about that. My bad.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
I just think it all needs to go back to George. I think it's the right thing to do. If he can acquire it back, and if he does absolutely nothing else with it, I think it should die with him and his progeny from this day forward. If he wants some creative control over some projects, giving license to certain people to expand the universe, he's free to do that. I don't think a reboot would work because I think Star Wars has been, for the 50 years it's been out, is simply too familiar. most remakes or reboots, it has to be out of the consciousness of the people. Arguably the greatest reboot that's ever been made was Scarface in 1983 from the original movie that was made in 1932. So most people who knew that movie, if they were even familiar with it, already gone. Remake movies typically, I think they say, I was looking at a few rankings of remake movies or whatnot, at least in terms of like, not so much a character, because there's been a bunch of Dracula movies and remakes and stuff like that. It's been King Kong has been done 3 or 4 times, so there've been a series of remakes for certain characters. But as far as remakes, they typically don't go very well. I think The Thing, which I don't really even recall watching the original Thing from I think the 50s, and they made another one I think in the 80s. He said that was a
Kirk Douglas.
Correct.
No. Yeah. Kirk Russell. Russell.
Yeah, Russell.
One of those
Yeah, exactly. So again, typically remakes don't work. And again, by the time it comes out, nobody remembers. Well, like I said, or you're too old or you've gone on. I mean, 50, 60 years between these remakes. So again, so certain movies do not have to be done. I don't think Godfather needs to be redone. If they ever did that, I think because again, it's just too popular in the populace for people to forget it. And Star Wars, you may have to wait 100 years before anybody would even consider trying to remake it again, especially if you take it out of circulation and just let it be. But it's got to get out of people's minds before you can do anything really with it. And the thing is, you could, because again, there is source material from the expanded universe, from the Sith universe you could start with, or even what George had initially intended for the sequels after the Return of the Jedi. You can go with. There's a lot of stuff that's there that could potentially be done, but I don't think a reboot would help Star Wars in any way. I just think it needs to be shelved, and keep the theme parks open. And from what I understand, the theme park is very popular. So I don't mind. People want to go there and kind of, for nostalgia reasons and whatnot, and, go to the theme parks and stuff. That's fine. But as far as any new creatives out of that, I just don't see it being.
So, Paul,
yeah.
From what you're saying, I agree 100%. I'm not going to, no pushback from me. I don't think it would ever get out of people's minds, because if you remember the last Star Wars movie from, I don't remember what year it was, the Return of the Jedi, all the way to episode 1. How many years that was? That was a good amount of time, and people still remember Star Wars.
But it wasn't a remake. That's the point, though.
I know. I'm not arguing that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying people were never gonna I think Star Wars is gonna be embedded in ourselves. I have a Star Wars conversation at least once or twice a week.
Mm.
So I don't think so. But let's get into our final thoughts and we'll start getting out of here. Let's go in Elf, Wally, Polo, David, and Major and last.
Final thoughts. Back to the original topic at hand.
It's your
no
final thoughts. Just
contest.
say something.
It's no contest. Vader wins. Vader wins every time. He's the OG. End of story. Next.
So to the original topic, yeah, Vader wins. For the simple fact, Kylo Ren, he was just manipulated. I mean, you really didn't have that hate in you. And as far as for where Star Wars will go from here on out, personally, like I said, whoever picks it up, I truly do believe, regardless, shelf it, do whatever you want. Shelf it, put it on the shelf. But eventually, whenever you choose to pick it up, if you're going to sit here and tell me, oh, let's just speed it past a couple of years, and yet a lot of years went by, and you're trying to tell me the world just, I don't know, whatever happened in between, you're going to sell me a backdrop story of whatever happened those multiple years that you've left. And then it's like, well, here we are today. I ain't gonna lie, I'm on the train. I'm on the train of hitting the reset button, because for the simple fact of A, someone else is gonna pick up this project, and B, can you really, and I mean truthfully, really sit here and say you're gonna clean up that damn nasty ass mess towards the end? Have fun if you think you can, because personally, No. I think you just put in a new era, a new face of the whole Star Wars franchise, and just hit it up. But hey, I'm not a big fan of the whole. I'm not a big overall guy like a lot of other people are of Star Wars, so I can't say much. So I'm gonna let it go.
Okay, well, if there was going to be a saving grace for Star Wars, we have seen a model of what could work, and basically you just work off of the original 6 films. You can do you had a very, very successful and enjoyable bridge movie at the beginning of Star Wars. I mean, you had Rogue One, which is really a true prequel. You still got movies you can do between episodes 4 and 5. You can do Splinter in the Mind's Eye. And obviously you have between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So if they, as long as they smoothly and seamlessly integrate those and bridge those films, I think those could certainly be successful. But again, you got to go with the formula that works. And but outside of that, just back to the original topic, yes, I mean it's no contest that Vader wins this one hands down. I don't think there'd even be a saber fight. Vader, I think he may just try to 4-stroke him out, and that'd be the end of it. So it's I think to that end, yeah, it's Vader is this guy has a history of really deleting other fully trained Jedi, even in his suit. He's still arguably one of the most formidable Jedi and Force users. In spite of that state, only I think the Emperor is the only one who really had the upper hand on him because, again, unfortunately, lightning kind of changes everything. So that's his kryptonite, and obviously the Emperor has it in spades. But outside of that, yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with Vader on my best day. So.
On that note, I will say like this. According to the original topic, based on the information we've given, hand down, no context, Vader is the winner. But on the part on we saving it franchise, I did suggest to do a complete reboot from start to finish because give a perfect example from the movie called Doom. The old Doom was pretty good. The new one, the part one, seemed to me being much of an upgrade, which I kind of respected that. So to repair the damage that Disney have done to the franchise, either you put in a hiatus for 5 or 10 years, or you do a methodical reboot from chapter one all the way to chapter 6. But this time, you need to get a whole new set of actors who embody such character properly, and they stick to the script, not to the food salad that Disney provided. That is my logical aspect of things. Because if not, my other option was give it to the Japanese or the Chinese who could do a better job than American movie production society. Because the way I see it, they lack the consistency of doing so. This is why I say what I said. That's my final thought.
Okay, I don't think that they should go back and do a full reset from, you know, the prequel trilogy, the original trilogy up to now. No, I wouldn't say that. It's too late to now finish the Skywalker saga. Carrie Ann Fisher, she's passed away. And Mark Hamill, well, I guess age doesn't matter. He can still teach someone. But no, they need to focus on writing a good story. Number one, get the politics out of it. It's a fantasy story. Keep it there. Pick a story out of the expanded universe and just tell that story. Put it on screen like he did with Winter Soldier and Iron Man. You know, that's my thing about it. Other than that, no, starting over, that'll be rebooting the whole thing. That'll be another mistake. But you do need to do something about that sequel trilogy. That was god awful. You need to fix that. That's my thing about it. So you got plenty of source material, Disney. Start reading and being creative. And I'll land my plane on that.
So, guys, I'm still going with Vader with my original thought, also, but
Oh yeah. Darth Vader wins by a landslide. I don't like Paul said. He's not even going to draw a lightsaber. He knows too many other Force abilities. That's no contest. Ren may as well not even show up. It's that bad.
so I'm gonna go back to my original statement saying I don't think Star Wars needs to be rebooted. I think we need a company who understands Star Wars, someone who works with a company says, "I'm a Star Wars fan." Like, if you don't have a Star Wars tattoo, you're not a Star Wars fan. Period. And I'm lying. I don't give a shit. But before we go, I got a question for Elf.
Yes.
How many lightsabers do you have?
2.
All right, we're tied then. All right, guys. Pretty fast. Rob, anything on your side before we go?
Nope. Just chilling like a villain.
Wally, anything last?
Yeah, nothing more to say after this. Yeah.
Paul?
No, I'm good. Just looking forward to tomorrow night's show.
I'm
Guys, stay
gonna
tuned.
hit that in 1
Absolutely.
second. David?
Right. Well, me. Oh, David, go ahead.
Well, I'm focused on working on the talking point presentation for the Attack on Titan because I know I've seen it. Wally have not seen it, and I gotta figure out how we could go about it because
Good luck.
it might be a mixed review.
Andrew?
Well, okay.
I'm watching this.
If you're talking about anime, if you're not watching Solo Leveling, I don't know what you're doing in your life. You're missing out on. This show is Solo Leveling is going to be one of the all-time greats. I'm talking like Dragon Ball Z level, but better. Yes, I said it. Solo Leveling so far is better than Dragon Ball Z.
I personally tried to watch it. I wasn't a fan of it. I'll be honest.
Of what? Solo Leveling?
Attack on
What?
Titan.
Attack on Titan? Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Attack on Titan. It gets good, but then it slows down. When it's slow, it's really slow. So you can't get taken out of it. I understand I understand, Sparta.
Yeah.
I do understand. Like if you get taken out of that one, I get it. It's a good story though. If you power through to the end, you are in for a treat. You really are. But you do have to. I'm with you. I had to power through a few episodes myself. Be strong. Be strong. It's one of those. Just power through. But
So
Solo
let's
Leveling
do a
is-
quick
but
schedule update, guys.
Solo Leveling, not like that. You're gonna like that through and through. Again, it's gonna be one of those ones. It really is. It's that thing. Very good story. Extremely good action and animation. They have spared no expense. Okay.
And the game is
Very.
pretty good.
I haven't played the game, but very well written story so far. And even people who criticized the manhwa, the manga of it, they say that okay, the end of the story, it doesn't disappoint. Everyone says that story does not disappoint from start to finish.
And
Yeah,
still
yeah,
continues.
and it's still
Before we go.
continuing with Ragnarok. But anyway, that's my thing. That's my 2 cents.
Before
Yeah.
we go over my schedule update, Rob, we have a question in the chat from Leno. Do you have a channel?
No. As I've stated in the past, I'm a contractor. I come and go as I please.
Yeah, but you can find him on here on Saturday nights and on Pop Culture Warrior on Tuesday nights when CQ allows him to play nice with everybody else.
Wait, you mean when CQ decides to freaking not show up to work, which is more often than not?
Right, shots fired.
Oh yeah,
I'll let you. That's your battle fight with CQ. I'm not getting involved in that. But this week's schedule. All right, guys. Tomorrow night is the night I've been talking about for weeks now. Dwayne White, the comedian, the veteran, will be on our show.
What?
So I'm sorry.
Who's going to be on the show?
Dwayne White. He's a comedian / veteran. I think he's. I don't remember how many years he did in the service. But
20 years.
Thank you. 20 years he did in the service.
I want to say he was a ranger, I believe.
Yeah, he was a Ranger
Special
Regiment.
Forces.
Yep.
Okay. Which one? First, second, or third?
I'm not sure, to be honest, off my head right now.
I don't remember which bat he was in. He didn't say in his interview earlier this week.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, hey, he's a ranger. Cool enough.
We'll find out tomorrow. So Please join us. It is going to be a incredible interview. I am looking forward to it. It's going to be exciting, funny. Hopefully, he can throw some nice jokes in our way. So,
Yeah, and if you guys are interested ahead of time, he just had his first comedy special on Amazon Prime. So if you get a chance to watch it ahead of time, I'm going to watch it tomorrow.
What's his name?
Dwayne White.
Wait. He's on Amazon Prime?
Yes. DEW, not DW.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out.
DEW.
I'm gonna
Dwayne.
check that out tonight.
Yeah. So I'm gonna definitely check out his special tomorrow, and so I'll have some more material from the show. But but his first one, he comes from, I guess there's within the military, there's a comedic branch that teaches folks coming out on comedy. So definitely I want to get into that and how that program works. And I think he's also been an instructor in that program as well. So lots of certainly good information. But to
so
make
how
that
the program
transition.
works is he went through it. A very good friend of the channel, my best friend and Rob's best friend. They go through a program through, I believe, Wounded Warrior sponsors. I'm not positive of that. Do you know anything about it, Rob? Maybe a little more than I do.
I know bits and pieces of it. Yeah, it's through Wounded Warrior, but it's basically therapy through comedy to help these soldiers transitioning out that have various freaking mental health issues, PTSD, anxiety, things of that nature. But they use comedy as a coping mechanism to get them back into a working, manageable place. And so, yeah, that's the down and dirty of it.
Yeah. So tomorrow, I actually put his name in the chat. So anybody wants to look him up at previous before the show, please, you're welcome to. He has a YouTube channel. He has content on Amazon. He's out there. He's known, pretty well, believe it or not, if you haven't heard of. So on Wednesday, we already set the bomb. Attack of the Titans is going to be out. Wiley and David are going to go back and forth at it. Hopefully, you guys can behave. And on Wednesday, we're going to be talking who wears a pants in a relationship.
Be all David right there.
As I was saying, on Thursday, we're going to be talking who wears the pants in a relationship. We're going to go nice and deep in that one. And next Saturday, we're talking about. It's ironic we're going to be talking about this. I did not know this was going to happen. I just scheduled it. I just planned it perfectly. I think Faith helped us here. Is what if John Cena wasn't around?
So that's next week?
Yeah, that's next week.
I get my notes ready.
And one other show, I really I know we got a couple strikes on the show on Thursday. But I thought I was really. I went back and I watched the episode. If you guys haven't seen our last show on Thursday on the John McClane syndrome, maybe worth watching. So if you guys haven't had a chance, go back and check that one out. I think we had chopped it up pretty good there. So some guys may be able to relate to that. But I pretty proud of that one. So even though we got a couple hits on us, but it's still
don't remind me. I was arguing with YouTube all day on that one.
Yeah.
I just dropped the link on that one in the chats too. Accept that, guys. This was a Spartan Institute Network. I am Ghost Sparta. He is Angry Elf. He is Wally. He is Mr. President, Black David, and Mandrell. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
See you tomorrow night. We'll see you guys then.